Hey YouTubers, how's it going? Well, since our last video, we asked you to tell us if you wanted to see a snow clearing video or not. Well, I'm going to tell you folks, your votes were very well taken and very much heard. I think I just checked the emails then. I think we had around 310 replies, and of 310 replies I think I counted 5 saying no and 305 saying well, pretty well yes. Now some people, maybe 5 or 6 of those people actually didn't vote, they just made a comment. But I'm going to tell you, like, I'm really surprised because I really thought that nobody would ever want to see another snow clearing video. As Kathy and I said today, we were totally wrong. So your voices have been heard, and we are going to go take the 5740 out now for a little trot down the yard and clean a bit of snow. That being said, if you listen close, we have a lot of wind. And we had some snow, we had some whiteout conditions. We certainly haven't got the snow that they said we're going to get. Matter of fact, it's kind of pathetic, really, because they said 15 to 20. Well, they started off 20 to 30 centimeters, then they said 15 to 20. So, and it's not that out there, not that I can see. Now, I only just left the house, came into the shop, because we're shut down today because even the Trans-Canada Highway was saying it was really bad driving conditions over there. So everybody was pretty well shut down. Schools closed, whatnot. So I think the doctor's clinic across the road is still open. So other than that, there's not much happening. Nobody around, certainly. So we'll go out and we'll do a little bit of snow clearing. And what I'll do is I won't close out the video now as I'm pushing the snow, when I'm done pushing the snow today, because if it gets bad later on this afternoon, I'll add some nighttime footage to this video. But if it don't snow anymore, we'll just have to call it quits and say, well, that's it for this video. And the next video we do on snow clearing, because there will have to be another one, everybody wants one, we'll end up doing a nighttime video for you. Now in the meantime, last year we have done some nighttime videos, so if you go back you'll be able to find them and view them then. What I didn't consider about the voting, and I also didn't consider at the time, I'm looking at videos or snow clearing videos based on snow clearing. But ye folks weren't actually looking at it that. You like the snow clearing videos, but you like the commentary as well. So I appreciate that, because I didn't know whether I should be talking or not. Personally, I don't like videos in tractors that have music attached. I never did like that. I think people are looking at videos of tractors, they want to hear the metal moving, and they want to hear the blade scraping, and they want to hear the rattles and the clunks and the bangs and all of that nice stuff that goes with owning a tractor and using a tractor. So some people like to add music to their tractors. We don't to their videos. We don't. We just like to have the natural occurrence of it. So I'm going to try to get the placement of the GoPro in the cab like I did on the last video, because I think that was a pretty good view for everybody. And also I'm going to take this camera now and I'm going to show you guys some of the features in this particular tractor, because some of you probably aren't familiar with what I've done with this tractor. So I'm just going to show you some in-cab stuff so you can be familiar with what I'm doing, because in the last video I had a lot of questions asked about certain things. So let's have a look. I'm going to take the camera over now. Let's have a look and I'll show you exactly what I have done and how I have the GoPro set up, and also show you some features in the cab that we have. Okay, let's have a look-see. We were talking about stacks the other day for the BX. Well, this is the stack that I designed for the 5740, and it works quite well. It's been on it now for a few years. inside the cab, well, there's a siren speaker system right there. There is the GoPro right there with the Sony mic coming out of it. Somebody was asking me what type of transmission was in it. Well, I put a blanket down here just to catch the snow, so it'll melt, but let's see here now. It's a HST, it's got a treadle pedal right there. I'll give you another look at that now shortly from the other side. Somebody asked me about the reverse switch or the reverse alarm. They said, why don't you put a switch on it? Well, there is a switch on it, okay? Right there, the one with the chrome bezel around it, or bezel. And yeah, so I can just flick that off and on when I don't want to use the reverse beeper. The seat, of course, these other two here it has has lights up here. I call them alley lights on each side of the cab. So one switch is for that, and the other switch is for the lights, the LED lights on the blow snower. Right there. Yes, folks, I call it blow snower. Yeah, so that's what they're for. Now, in the cab again, we have the Grandma ear ride seat. And of course, there's the switch for, and it's got folding armrest right there, and it's got the adjustable headrest. Now, usually when we're doing some heavy snow clearing, I'll put a GoPro in the back window, and then as I'm backing up, I'll just switch over to the back camera so you folks can see it, but it's really not worth doing it today. Up here, hang on, let me tilt this steering wheel back a bit. Okay. So we have a cam cab here. It's a 7-inch LCD monitor. Here we have an ambient air temperature gauge. And out here for that is the sensor going up there on top of the cab on that long rod. So that's what that's for. The other side is just an LED volt gauge. So we'll go over again and have a look over here and see. Oh, if anybody wants to know what they are, I've had a few people ask. They're billet aluminum caps that I machine. You can pull them off, and there's an O-ring in there, and what happens is the O-ring keeps it in there, keeps it waterproof, and I use that FEL tube as storage area. The same thing down here. Yeah, so this is the pedal, forward and reverse. Very simple to use, very comfortable to use. People ask me what that's for, and that's just an inclinometer. It's an electronic inclinometer. It just tells you how much tilt is on the tractor, and you can set the perimeter so that when you think you're tipping over or you get to the danger zone, alarms will go off. It's, I don't know, I put it in there. I think that's more of a gimmick than anything else. But anyway, people who got inclinometers are probably going to be mad with me now. That beeping you heard, that's the Sony stereo that we put in up there. And it's got infinity speakers all the way around. So it's got a really nice sound system in it. We don't play it because, well, when we're doing videos, because it's basically copyrighted stuff. Up here, this is the rotation of the chute for the snowblower, and this one here is the deflector for the chute, or vice versa. And of course, this is what raises the whole snowblower back there. Over here, again, got to go over to the other side. Let's see. Over here. Over here is your high, neutral, mid-range, and low range up here. But like I was saying, I keep it in high now because there's not much snow, and then I can electronically shift from here, like that, back and forth from high range to mid-range just by the flick of a button. These things have great transmissions in them. Let me see if I can turn on some lights here. Okay. So here is a HST mode switch, and I can, if you look over here, you'll see that's auto HDS. Well, this can actually automatically shift from high and low range on its own, depending on the load of the engine. I don't usually use that too much. Turn it all off, so it's basically back to its just regular transmission. If I flick it again, it's on stall guard, so when it comes on the load, it'll automatically pick up the RPM so the engine can't stall or won't stall, which is pretty neat. Those flashing lights, they are the park light for the park brake or the foot brake. I had to put them in because Kubota, when they designed these things, really never put a good light in there to let you know that the brakes were on. And a lot of people were driving off, including myself, with the brakes on. This here is a LED. Let me see if I can. This is hard to do. Okay, so this particular one here, this is for four-wheel drive, because I couldn't remember which was up and down for four-wheel drive, so I put this switch on it, and that switches it in and out of four-wheel drive, and it just lets you know when it's in four-wheel drive or out of four-wheel drive, which is kind of neat. Something's going on over there. We have a switch over here. Well, that's an override switch. Hang on, folks. Oh, knows what's going on there. That's the battery getting low there. Warning. That switch is an override for my automatic wipers. I'll put my fingers across here. See that? It's picking up the moisture on my fingers. Now, if I hang on a second there. Now, sorry about this, folks. If I try to reach, it won't work. But if I put my finger on it, hang on, I'm going to wet my finger. Oh, there you go. I'm going to wet my finger, and that's how the wipers work. That way I don't have to be reaching up and turning the wipers on and off. That'll come back in park now shortly. There you go. The rest of it is upstairs. That's the stereo timing out there. I did put a couple of reverse mirrors in there, or backup mirrors. One of the things that I always liked about Coyote that I didn't like about Kubota, the simple things, you know. Kubota always says, like they think a lot of their cabs and their designs, but they never put a friggin' sun visor in these things. You look at the Coyote, and it's got one built right into the headliner, which is pretty neat. So it hasn't been a great problem, but it was a nice feature if you could do it, I often thought about making up one myself and putting it in, but I don't spend enough time with this thing, I suppose, to justify it. There are some switches. There's another rocker type switch there, and that's for the LED light right there. So that's the camera there, right there, and that's got a mic in it too, so I can actually hear sounds if I want to turn up the volume in the cab. So that's the inside of the cab, folks. I hope I answered some of your questions. There's so many coming in, like I say, the last video, there's 310 comments when I checked last, and they're growing all the time. And not only that, that's just one video. There's 525 other videos on there, so every now and then somebody goes in and finds some stuff on the other videos and they ask a question. So on my home page, I get all these questions, and how I know they're for what respective video is I look over on the right hand side and I'll see what videos they're for. So then I have to try to remember what I did and how I did it and where I bought it, and it's a lot of information to retain. And for a fella that don't remember what he had for breakfast this morning, believe me, it's quite the challenge. Anyway, let's get into 5740. Let's switch over to the GoPro, and we're going to go out and push what snow it's there. Again, if I go ahead and I do this snow clearing now, if I think it might snow more later on tonight, I'll come out and I'll add some night shots to it. But if I don't, that'll be it. And we'll do a night shot video, a night snow clearing video in the nighttime at a later date, probably over the Christmas holidays or something. So let's get to it. Okay, as they say, let's rock and roll. So we'll let her heat up a bit. Oh, turn off some lights here and see what happens. Well, it's +3 in the garage, so I'm gonna pump up my seat a bit. You do that basically just by pushing in on the button. And there's a little window down in the seat, and what happens is you look at it, and when there's a green stripe, and when that's in the center, it's pretty well dead on for your weight. But I just do the bouncy test, and we see what happens then. So I have a remote over to the left of me, and I'm going to open the door, and I'm going to put on my steel gloves because I don't have any Kubota ones anymore. They all wore out. Hey, I gotta go get my sunglasses. I'll be back in a second. Cool. Wowzers. Yeah, there's not much there, but anyway, we'll find something to do. I gotta plow it anyway. So, but it's just the way it happens here on this end of the island. When we get hit real hard with the snow, and then when we don't get hit, or when we are promised a storm, we don't usually get them. So, it seems like every time I put the tractor in the garage, we don't get snow. If I leave it down in the shelter where it's all buttoned up, we get snow. Now, I'm going to turn on some heat so we don't fog everything up. And I think we're just about ready to go. She's in 4-wheel drive. Yeah, okay. Let's see what happens. Turn off the beeper. Yeah, the only time I use the beeper is when I'm down by the road, or if the tractor is on site somewhere, because I do go on site at times. I'll work for people or help people out, and I'll use the beeper then, especially if there's children around. It kind of puts a little bit of fear in them. Because you know what? Equipment is like the children. I mean, it's a magnet. It's just like a magnet. Out there this morning sitting down watching TV, and holy smokes, I was watching this thing called the Tasmanian Devil. Well, holy smokes, don't you think a Tasmanian Devil is not saucy? So I said to Kathy, I said, geez, come in and have a look at this thing. And anyway, she came in and she looked at it and she said, boy, that thing is some saucy. I said, holy smokes, who does he remind you of? She said, I don't know. I said, your mother. Holy smokes, that thing was almost as saucy as Kathy's mother. So, kind of scared me. I had to turn it off. I couldn't watch it any longer. It was just stirring up memories. I better watch it on back over that bank behind me. Turn on the heat. The heat's going to be a bit, you're going to hear the blower motor. It's a little bit loud, the wind, but got to remember, there is a lot of wind outside. So people will say to me sometimes when I'm doing the videos, they'll say, well, how come you do it this way and how come you do it that way? Now folks, I'm going to be honest with you. When I'm not filming, I usually do this driveway half the time. I really don't spear it much. I just dig it in and let it go. I try to drag it out a little bit so you guys can see a little bit of it. But it's a little bit cold out there now, and of course with the high winds, and I never really let this pre-warm, so I kind of set it up for foggy. That won't last long. What I'm going to do is I'm going to close the door there now. I'm going to leave this out by the door for a while, the tractor. I'm going to let it thaw the windshields out good, because what's going on now, it was warm in the shop and I brought it out in the cold, so I got to give it a chance to equalize. And when it equalizes, I'll come back and we'll continue on snow clearing. But I want you to have a good picture, a good view. So let's wait till we get that. Okay. Hopefully this is better. Yeah, it's better. Cool. Yeah, it only took 5 minutes. Gave me a chance to check my emails. Let's go down in the back. Hopefully it's frozen enough where I can push a bit of snow. I better get a better angle on that. This time last year, Forky was out there buried in the snow. I'm not going to worry too much about down here, but I'll plow it out anyway. The camera might do a bit of shaking. It's a bit rough because I came down over here the other day when it was half wet. Went right to it. When it's not frozen, you got a chance to pick up the crushed stone in that. So I try not to do that too much. Kathy's van is in the shelter. When I took Killer out of the shelter, I put Kathy's van in there. That way she don't have to be cleaned it off. Anyway, somebody was asking me the other day, they asked me about corporate sponsors for our channel. And they asked me if we had any or if we got any, and I said yes. We even have some now. What we do is lots of times we'll end up doing videos for manufacturers. They never really ever hit YouTube. They're for their own personal use at trade shows and stuff. So we've done quite a few of those actually. But when we're doing our YouTube videos, we're kind of in a semi-relaxed mode, I'll call it. We try not to make it too official. We try not to make it, well, I guess we couldn't make it classy if we wanted to, but we do try to be more natural, be ourselves, be what we are, carrying on and having a bit of fun and enjoying what we're doing, but when we're doing these corporate things, or these manufacturing things, product things, we of course we have to be more professional, and we use green screens, and we use different microphones and different cameras and whatnot. And we don't really go looking for this stuff. They come looking for us. I guess they know. I guess they feel they know us. They watch us on YouTube, and we appreciate their business. There's no doubt about it. And so people have asked me, well, the same guy actually did ask me. He said, well, have you had any bad experiences? And this guy, believe it or not, was representing a manufacturer. And I said, we've been doing this tractor stuff since 2008. Before 2008 came along, all I ever did, and Kathy wasn't even involved in that, I did videos on some of the restorations that I used to do, like on gas pumps and gasoline memorabilia, service station memorabilia, motorcycles, mini bikes, and geez, I used to love that. I always said when I retire I'm going to build myself a street rod, but so I haven't done much restorations lately. But when 2008 came, well, we retired Old Blue from plowing snow commercially, and we ended up buying a Kubota 4240. And of course, then the customizing or mod bug struck me, and I ended up going right to it. And I said, I had a lot of mods done. I said, you know what, maybe somebody might be interested in seeing some of this. And of course, it took off from there. It got a little crazy, to be honest with you. And of course, but it added for a lot of material for doing videos for YouTube. And of course, that's how we come to meet 99% of the people that watch us now. But somebody asked me, same guy, he asked me, he said, well, have you had any bad experiences? And I said, yes, we had one really, really bad experience. And he said, well, would you mind telling me, who it was? And I said, well, if I told you, you probably wouldn't believe it. And he said, try me. And I said, well, actually, it's ironic that the people who treated us the worst was Kubota. Kubota treated us what I thought was terrible. Back about, of course, I can tell you this because everything I'm telling you is factual. And not only that, we didn't sign the contract, so we're not sworn to secrecy. But back about 2.5 years ago, it was in July, we get a call from Kubota Canada saying, we like what you're doing. Would you be interested in, we got a proposal for you, would you be interested in having a meeting with us? So Kathy and I said, sure. So anyway, they came out with some representatives from the local Kubota, well, one representative from the local Kubota dealership, and we sat down at a local restaurant, and we had a nice meeting, we had a nice meal, and basically what had happened is they wanted us to do some product, well, they called it testing. What they wanted us to do was use some of their products and do videos on them. So I said, well, okay, what kind of videos would you like done? And they said, well, we'd like for you to do what you're doing now. This is what we really like. So anyway, I said, boy, sounds good. So we discussed a few things, and one of the things we discussed was the first thing we were going to do, they were going to give us lend us, or provide us with, is a better word, a Kubota 6060 series tractor. And they said they'd like for us to use it. They were going to give us 5 implements and to go with it. I don't know, I think it was a snow blower, and there was a broom, and there was 3 more. I don't remember what they were now. So I said, okay. So we got talking, and we had a great meeting. It was perfect. Everybody went away happy. And then they said somebody from Kubota will be in touch with you. So we waited about a month and a half and we never heard anything. So made a few phone calls and said, you know, what's up with this? Because it's getting late in the year and we'd like to get something rolling. If we're going to be testing your equipment, we're going to have to set something up. You can't test your equipment in this driveway here. So we had to make some plans. So I guess we talked for about 4 months, back and forth. And what had happened was, as Kathy and I started to think about it, and I said, you know, they want these videos done, but I said, there's one thing they haven't talked about, and that's reimbursing us for our time. I said, I'd like to get paid for at least my time at this. It takes hours and hours and hours to do this. So anyway, we mentioned to the people at the powers to be, and of course they said, no, we can't pay you. We don't pay journalists. And I said, well, we're not a journalist. We're a mom and pop business. So if you can't pay us, we're not interested. Now, when I talk about paying guys and gals, I'm talking about less than minimum wage. Just something to say we at least got paid for some of our time. Because some of this stuff will have to bite into our working hours, which is our business. Now, I won't go into every detail, because you probably wouldn't even believe every detail. But anyway, after 4 months, they called us, and the rep called, said, no, we can't do it. We had a meeting with the team members, and they don't want to pay. And I said, well, okay, that's not a problem. You don't want to pay. We don't want to do it. And they said, well, hang on a second now. So anyway, finally, in the same phone call, they agreed with what we had to, what we had asked for. Now, I knew there was some reluctancy there, and as a matter of fact, there was so much reluctancy there that even the dealership, who we had a good relationship with, there was only one person at the whole dealership that actually agreed with us getting paid, and that was a salesman. And to this day, I still think he's probably one of the funnest people that ever walked into that dealership. I won't mention his name, but if anybody ever comes looking for a Kubota tractor, I always send them to him. He's a good guy. But anyway, from the manager right on up to top management, no, don't agree, shouldn't get paid, shouldn't get paid. Now in the meantime, I can tell you one thing, the owner of that dealership personally came in my driveway, or our driveway, and said in front of Kathy and me that we have single-handedly sold more tractors for his dealership than all his salesmen combined. And I can tell you, if he was here in front of me right now, he wouldn't be able to deny he said that. So that being said, I figured that was worth something. So anyway, they agreed to what we were asking for, which I told some friends of mine who are business owners here in the area what we were asking, and they laughed and they said, are you friggin' serious? They turned that down? They didn't want to pay you that? They said, you can make more than that here in a couple of days in business. And I said, exactly. So anyway, I said, well, you know, it's a stepping stone to possibly a good working relationship. So that's how we were looking at it. We'll take a little bit now, and maybe they'll give a little more later on when they see their sales increasing and, you know, they see the popularity of the videos going and everything. So finally, we get this email, and they said, Paul, the contract is being emailed to you now. Sign it as fast as you can, because I'm going to be gone for the weekend. It was a long weekend, and we want to get this thing moving. I said, no problem. In the meantime, we were getting ready to announce to all of you fellows, our YouTube subscribers and viewers, that something big was about to happen. At the same time, we also had some interest from the History Channel, Canadian History Channel, to do a series here. So that's another story. But anyway, they knew about that because I had told them about that. Kubota. So the contract showed up on a Friday evening about 3:30, and the shop was extremely busy that day. And Kathy said, "Are you going to sign it?" And I said, "No, I can't sign it." I said, "It's a long weekend." I said, "I'm busy tomorrow," which would have been Saturday. So I said, "I'll tell you what, give me Sunday to look it over." And I said, "Then we'll, if it's acceptable, we'll sign it and we'll get this ball rolling." So anyway, we started reading the contract. And the contract originally was for 8 months. When we got the contract, it was for 3 months. And they had the right to cancel at any time. They had the right to show, to take bits and pieces of our video and use it wherever they wanted to, including with their affiliates. And we weren't going to get any remuneration or anything back for it whatsoever. And they also said they had the rights to my voice, my image, and there's a pile of other stuff. So I said, "Boy, you know, we've gone from 8 months down to 3 months." And the thing that we found really, really strange about this contract is there was never a mention of a tractor. There was never a mention of one piece of equipment. And I said, "Boy, you know, like, I'm just feeling, I'm smelling a rat here, you know." So I was really, really uncomfortable. So, and then of course the contract stated you can't tell anybody about it, and, you know, and this and that and everything else. And I said, "Frig that." So I emailed them back and I said, "This is not acceptable. You guys are crazy. You know, and the other thing was too, is they only wanted 5-minute videos. They wanted 5-minute, no, actually they wanted anywhere from 2 to 4 minute videos. They didn't want it any longer than that, and they also didn't want Kathy in the videos. They said only you are going to be in the videos. Now that kind of really upset me, because we built this channel together, Kathy and I. And I'm going to tell you folks, I might be the guy blabbing all the time, but the real brains behind this is Kathy. She puts a lot of hard work into this, and she's the one that got to deal with these companies, and she's the one that got to deal with anybody who calls up on the phone from all over the world. They want to talk about tractors or they want to talk about videos. She's the one, because I'm the person out in the shop trying to keep the shop running. So I was kind of devastated. The other thing too was, my thing blew off my fire extinguisher. Look. Okay, that's good. That'll just blow back there. I'll get it after. So anyway, what really bothered me was the fact that Kathy and I had built up this channel to the point where we're real comfortable with it. And you know, we don't say it enough, but we really appreciate our viewers and we really appreciate our subscribers. And I can tell you for a fact, we have doctors on here, we have engineers on here, we have lawyers on here, and we have the smartest people in the world on here. And I can tell you who they are. They're farmers. And they watch us. And I can tell you, you're never going to fool a farmer. Well, when a farmer tells you you're doing a good job, brother, I'm going to tell you, you can take that as a real compliment. So I said to Kathy, I said, "Well, okay, whatever happened to the situation where they said they wanted us to keep doing the videos just like we're doing? I thought that was the attraction." And Kathy said, "Yeah, me too." And I said, "Well, they don't want you in it." So I said, "If you're not in it, I'm out of it." And I said, the other thing is too, I said, you got to remember something. Our viewers are Kubota owners, a lot of them. And the minute that we produce a video that's 2 to 4 minutes long, and it looks corporate-ish, like it was something done in the city of Toronto by a film agency, our customers are going to smell a rat right from the get-go, And right off the bat, our integrity and our credibility is gone. And you'll never win their trust back again. So I said, what's it worth? I said, it's not worth anything. So I basically told them, we aren't going to have anything to do with this. This is not the original verbal deal that we had planned or hammered out at the restaurant. And we walked away from it. Now I will admit, I did send off a couple of nasty emails to the missus that was involved doing the talking to us. And there was no doubt about it. I expressed my displeasure, which I feel was every right, which was my right to do. And so right now, well, in the last 2 years, we have never been into our Kubota dealership, which is kind of sad, because believe it or not, they've lost a tremendous amount of business because of it, and we feel we lost some friends, because there's a salesman there at the dealership that we really, really like to deal with, and unfortunately, because of this, we no longer have any working relationship with Kubota or their dealerships. And it's kind of funny because, well, it's both funny and sad. When we were on Ontario last year, we walked into a dealership. As soon as we went into the dealership, the salesman started looking at me. He said, man, he said, I know you. I said, yeah. And he watches the videos. So, everybody lost. Nobody won here. Dealership lost, Kubota Canada lost, and we lost because we really did like the product. So anytime you hear me saying you're not going to see Kubota much longer around here, we sincerely mean it. Kubota will soon be a thing of the past, folks. Now, I don't want you getting on there saying, well, you're going to buy a Case, you're going to buy a Cat, you're going to buy a John Deere. I couldn't answer you because we don't know. But what I will tell you is it won't be a Kubota. For one thing, I don't know. I'm not going to say I'm not going to buy a Kubota because of what happened. I just don't like the emission systems. You know, we have people calling here all the time with emission system problems, and the dealership can't fix it. This thing here, it don't cause us any issues whatsoever. You turn the key and it starts. We love the tractor. But the problem is every time we show a video of this tractor, I feel like I'm giving Kubota free advertising. So that's the real reason why we wanted to give up doing snow clearing videos. We said they had enough free advertising on us. But I must say, folks, you did sway me, or sway us, because it was really humbling to know that you liked our videos because of not only the tractor, but of the content that's being talked about. Yes, we have fun, we enjoy it, and we really are happy the fact that it makes you laugh or chuckle, and it gives you something to think about. Sometimes it'll even give you ideas on a mod. It's great. So what we've decided to do is we've decided the hell with Kubota, and what we're going to do the snow clearing for now is for our viewers. If Kubota benefits from it, well, that's fine. But you know, this should tell Kubota something too. This should tell Kubota that how come Paul is not in a 60 series tractor? And maybe all the consumers out there thinking about buying a 60 series tractor should consider it. How come Paul don't have a 60 series tractor? Well, Paul don't have a 60 series tractor for a number of reasons. It's up to you fellas to figure out why. That being said, I wanted this video to be a little bit of a serious video this time. I wanted you to have some inside information or a feel of what goes on behind the scenes. I wanted you to know that it's not always poops and giggles here. Sometimes these videos can get very, very serious for the content of them, and this is probably one of them. And there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that most people don't even know anything about. So I just thought I'd share that with you guys. And we appreciate the fact that you like our videos to begin with, but we really appreciate the fact that you like our snow clearing videos. Because I'm going to tell you folks, you guys really, really, really swayed us. We said, you know what? Because of Kubota, we've probably lost a feel for our viewers. We were because of what happened with Kubota, we were going to penalize you folks. So I'm happy to report that is no longer going to happen. We're going to put you guys ahead. And of course, our decision to not work with Kubota on the 60 series tractor was also because of you guys. I mean, come on, if you guys had to turn on your television, sit down and with your coffee or your beer and say, holy smokes, Paul and Kathy got a video up, let's go have a look. And you turned it on, and here was this fancy music with this fancy tractor going, and Kathy wasn't even talking in it. Kathy couldn't be seen in it. And I was there with all my nose hair plucked and all my hair plucked. And you'll say, holy smokes, he's pretty polished. Something's up. He sold out. He's gone corporate. So, didn't want to do that, folks. Didn't want to do that to you. You guys deserve better than that. So, I hope you enjoyed the story, because 125% of it is pure factual. And if anybody wants to challenge me on it, we have the evidence, because I still have the contract. But, you know, even though that happened, what ended up happening after that, we ended up having a better appreciation for other companies who came in and treated us great from the get-go. And then you say, well, you know what, at least everybody's not like them. No, because you lose faith in people after a while. We didn't want to make a fortune. We just wanted to make a living. And there's nothing wrong with people making a living. I'm sure when Kubota sold me a tractor, they made a profit. And I'm sure they benefited from us owning their product. So, that's where it is, folks. Bet you thought you'd never hear a story like that today. Anyway, there's a few people getting out and about. I don't like leaving snow on the side of the road, although the government plow truck will soon come down and take care of that. Look at this guy. Look, they hardly move over for you, eh? They have no imagination. They don't know what smacking into the likes of this can do. So like I say, there's going to be more sightings of Elvis in our dealership than it will be of Paul Jordan. Because of the fallout. Yeah. They said, well, wait, I said, well, why don't you want to pay us? They said, well, it won't seem legitimate, you know? And I said, wow. So every time that we watch a GMC commercial, or we watch a Taco Bell commercial, or we watch a Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial, we can just assume that none of these people are getting paid. None of them. And all your salesmen on your floors of your dealerships, well, if they tell you it's a good machine, well, you can't assume that they're telling you the truth if they're getting paid. Which I thought was ridiculous. There's a famous actor that does commercials for Lincoln. His first name is Matthew. You guys know who I'm talking about. And anyway, shortly after this happened with us, he said a line in the commercial that really resonated home. And he said, "Do you know what?" He said, "I was driving a Lincoln long before I was getting paid to drive a Lincoln." And I said, "God almighty. I was operating a Kubota long before I was getting paid to operate a Kubota, and they still don't want to pay me." Ha! Anyway, I don't think their argument holds much water. Now, I know there's going to be a bit of backlash from this, and there's going to be... the haters are going to hate. But you know, folks, they said to me, they said, "Well, your payment is you're getting to use a new tractor." And I said, "Lady, I'm going to tell you something." And this is a quote. This is exactly what I said to her. I said, "We have a brand new BX25D. We have a brand new 5740, which we paid for. I need a lend of another tractor like I need another friggin' hole in my head. We got them now, we can't use them all. So, there it is, and it can't be no tizzer." So folks, I'm going to do a final good cleanup tomorrow on this. I'm not going to worry too much about this because I'm not sure if this has ended. We could have another pile of snow come through here and just totally make a mess of it. But what you got to do here with these things is you've got to keep the snow clear, because not only can it rain and not only can it snow, but it can also rain. And if it rains and freezes overnight, now brother, I'm going to tell you something, then you got a problem. So with that, I'm going to open up the garage door over there, and I'm going to back this in. And you guys said you wanted a commentary, and you guys got a commentary. You can't deny it. So I think what I'll do is I'll probably actually close up this video, and we'll continue on the next time it snows. I'll do a nighttime video, but I would really like to do a nighttime video where Kathy could get out with the camera outside. We could set up 2 GoPros on the inside. But watch out I don't run into the ramp, because it's kind of hard to see back in the fog. Yeah. So yeah, we set up 2 GoPros on the inside, and we could set up Kathy outside, and then what I could do is I could go in and individually split the screens and have them flick over with no transition. So 1 minute you're inside going ahead, next minute outside coming towards you, and the next minute backing up, I had the back camera going. So I thought that might be a good idea. But anyway, I don't like wind, but this is not too bad, I suppose. Like, it's snowing, but at least it's dry. It's not wet. I'm going to put my steel gloves there because I'm too contrary to go into the dealer to buy a pair of Kubota gloves. So they're orange. That'll do. And with that, folks, we're going to say we'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your ear for a while. And Kathy and I would just like to tell you that we really appreciate you as viewers and subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Because when you subscribe and you comment, it just gives us the encouragement to keep going. Because these videos, believe it or not, they not only take a lot of time, but they take a lot of money to bring you quality videos. So, and we appreciate your time watching them. So you guys take care. We'll see you in the next video. God bless.